For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to OBX Today Live on the OBX Today and Sam Walker OBX Facebook pages and Sam Walker OBX YouTube channel. Glad to have you along with us on this Thursday morning, January 6, 2022. Get you caught up on all the news we've got for you at obxtoday.com and elsewhere around the state and country this morning. Let's get right to it. The long-awaited, much-anticipated widening of Collington Road, one of the busiest secondary roads in North Carolina, finally scheduled to begin this spring. State Board of Transportation last month awarded a nearly $20 million contract to the Fred Smith Company of Raleigh for the project that runs the full length, 4.5 miles of two-lane road from US 158 to its end near Island Drive. Now, the contract, according to NCDOT, includes resurfacing the road completely, adding 7-foot wide paved shoulders between Collington Drive and Bermuda Bay Drive to accommodate bicyclists and pedestrians, realignment of several substandard curves, additional turn lanes, and also raise the grade of the road on flood-prone sections and other drainage improvements to reduce the frequency and severity of flooding incidents. Fred Smith Company has, in fact, let's see if we can get this to pull up here. They have created an infographic I thought was pretty cool. It kind of lays out how much that work that they will be doing. Let's see here. We've got to add this to our software, so give me just a second here. Got to find it. It's kind of buried in all of our news from the last couple of days we've been adding to obxtoday.com. There's that infographic. Okay, let's see if we can get... Oh, all right. It's going to be kind of a weird-looking setup here. So if I move it... here we go. There we go. This kind of gives you an idea of what they're looking at. Excavating 7,350 cubic yards of dirt, 40,000 tons of asphalt, 5,000 feet of storm sewer, and also 16,000 feet of water line will be part of that project that Fred Smith Company will be doing over the next 2 years. Now, of course, that is the big question. How much or how long and how is it going to tie up traffic and all? Same contractor, by the way, is working on the improvements to West 3rd Street and Killable Hills. Talk about that in a moment. That includes new utility lines, stormwater drains, and a sidewalk. Now, in the terms of the contract, work can begin on the project as early as February, so we'll start seeing staging next month. Substantial road work completed by the fall of 2023. So this project is going to be going on starting this spring and run right on through until next fall of 2023. And there's been a lot of comment about this on the different social media groups about, oh, this is just going to be a disaster with the traffic and all that. And unfortunately, it's just something that has to be done because it's not something they can do in the off season only because of the scope of the project and paving, which can't be done in the winter. Yes, there is going to be, Collington Road's going to be a little bit of a mess starting this spring and running right on into much of 2023. Final completion of project for spring of 2024. That's all the punch list stuff. And, of course, construction delays that are invariably going to happen. So Collington Road finally getting its widening. This has been talked about for almost a decade, trying to get a multi-use path built along Collington Road, trying to get some of those kinks, those sharp curves taken out. That's been done at least once around the church area at Collington Methodist. This work is going to require taking some of the right-of-way, which has already been done, all the right-of-way acquisition. That's one thing. When they award the contract, they've already done all the right-of-way acquisition, so all the properties are going to be impacted already know as far as what they're going to lose in terms of their front yards and such. So we will follow along and have updates periodically from Department of Transportation on the Collington Road project because, again, 10,500 vehicles a day on average use Collington Road. That again makes it the most heavily traveled, one of the most heavily traveled secondary roads in North Carolina on a daily basis. That's just the average, 10,500, the average per day around a year. They use pretty different statistics to determine that. Much of that traffic, obviously, is what comes in and out on the 158 end and going into the First Light schools on a daily basis. And a lot of the work that needs to be done is beyond that area. So the largest impact to traffic really won't be there. It'll be the folks that go back past Bermuda Bay Drive and around by the monument on it to Collington. They're going to have the impacts directly from this project. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that Fred Smith Company is the same company that's doing the West 3rd Street improvements in Kidawville Hills. They're going to continue today. There is a road closure that's going to begin here this morning of West 3rd Street at Wyandotte Street. Through traffic will be prohibited during the closure, and you'll be able to kind of drive around that with those side streets that kind of connect. This has been progressing out from Bay Drive to 158 over the last several weeks with these closures. They usually last until about the middle of the afternoon. And we'll just see them hopping along as they're cutting across the pavement to put in the new utility lines and then covering back up. And, of course, kind of a bumpy ride along West 3rd Street now in multiple spots because of that project. It's OBX Today live here on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Presented by Gallup Funeral Services. Hyde County School Superintendent Steve Bassnight will be retiring this spring. That's after nearly 4 decades as a teacher and administrator on the Outer Banks. Bassnight informed the Hyde County Board of Education at their December 7th meeting about his retirement that'll be effective on April 1st. They put out a pretty lengthy release yesterday on their Facebook page about Bassnight's retirement. He spent 20 years as a classroom teacher and coach at Manteo High School before moving into Dare County Schools Administration as an assistant principal, then interim principal, curriculum coordinator, then moved over to Currituck County where he was principal at J.P. Knapp Early College, was district principal of the year twice, and then made the move back to where he's from, Hyde County. He's a Hyde County native. In the fall of 2018, becoming superintendent. He's served as a vice chairman of the Northeast Regional Education Service and was a member of the executive board of the North Carolina School Superintendents Association. Steve Bassnight, congratulations on a great career of 4 decades in education here on the Outer Banks. And congratulations, Steve, on your retirement. Really a huge list of accomplishments he's had at Hyde County Schools. Of course, has overseen all the recovery efforts for Ocracoke School from Hurricane Dorian and at Mattamuskeet schools that were damaged, both damaged by Hurricane Dorian. And, you can read all the details at obxtoday.com. More of OBX Today Live is coming up here on Facebook and YouTube, so stay with us.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
We're back here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you mash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to know whenever we go live. Theater Dare, Community Theater for the Outer Banks, has announced they are postponing opening of their production of 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress. That was supposed to open tonight at the Dare County Arts Council, but due to several people related to the show testing positive for COVID-19, this postponement was announced by Stuart Parks, president of the Theater of Dare Board of Directors. He said that they don't want to put the rest of the cast and crew as well as audience members at risk of being exposed. Plans are to move the opening to Thursday, January 13th. They are exploring options continuing the run January 20th through 23rd at the Dare County Arts Council. Those who purchased tickets for this weekend, including season ticket members, will be contacted by the box office via email. And we've got details about that at obxtoday.com. North Carolina's Attorney General is asking for people to report to his office any instances of price gouging for at-home COVID-19 tests or any other pandemic-related products. Attorney General Josh Stein said his office has heard anecdotally that there may be price gouging with at-home COVID tests as case counts in the state have soared in recent weeks, resulting in long lines at testing sites. Now, the state's price gouging statute prohibits charging too much for goods and services during a crisis. It has been in effect under Executive Order 245, remaining active until April 5th. Stein's office said it's brought 11 lawsuits against 27 defendants under the statute since 2018. You can go to the state's Department of Justice website, that's ncdoj.gov, to report price gouging of any type. Latest on COVID-19 here in North Carolina, almost 3,100 patients now in hospitals across the state with the coronavirus. That's the most since the Delta surge in September. For the first time during the pandemic, more than 20,000 new cases of COVID were reported in North Carolina yesterday, and the state's positive test rate was at 31.8%. That's the highest it's been so far during the pandemic on a daily case count. News coming out last night, Reverend William Barber said on social media he's tested positive for COVID-19. Barber, who's a statewide known activist, said he's vaccinated. His symptoms so far are very mild, and he will notify close contacts and isolate for 5 days. Barber also encouraged people who have not done so to get vaccinated or receive a booster shot as soon as possible. Hyde County schools will be bringing back, they have brought back their mandatory mask mandate for at least the next 30 days. That's after a big increase in COVID-19 among staff and students of the Hyde County schools. The Board of Education for Hyde County making that decision on Tuesday, and that will include in all indoor athletic events, and athletes not on the floor at the time playing will be required to wear face coverings unless they're actively engaged in the event. All right, it is OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker as we roll through on this Thursday morning. And a story from Currituck County as they have been working on dune crossovers in Corolla through the offseason. Started last year with 3 dune crossovers that are going to be were reconstructed. That took place. Sorry. I've got a picture that just kind of went wacky on us here. I wanted to show you one of those. This was the one at Perch Street. They are replacing 13 aging dune crossovers in Corolla. They're all in the Whalehead neighborhood section of Corolla. 3 more are going to be replaced this year at Coral, Dolphin, and Mackerel Streets. They're going to be torn down and replaced with new 8-foot wide structures. The one you're seeing right now on your screen is at Perch Street. Last year they did Barracuda, Perch, and Sailfish Streets. 12 dune walkovers, rather, are being replaced. This is phase 2, and will be completed ahead of Memorial Day weekend. Phase 3 is scheduled to take place during the winter of 2022-23, when Bonita, Marlin, and Sturgeon Streets will be replaced. And then phase 4 will take place with Herring, Shad, and Tuna Streets having their replacements in 23 and 24. So if you do stay up in Corolla, vacation up in Corolla, those dune walkovers in some of the Whalehead section of Corolla will be getting new dune walkovers this year. All right, more of OBX Today Live is coming up here on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday morning. We're back after this from Gallup Funeral Services.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
Our pet of the week for this week is Seven. Seven has been with us since July due to a rough start, and after months of treatment, he is finally ready for his forever home. Seven loves to cuddle and usually loves to play with toys, but today he just felt like checking things out and getting some love. Seven also enjoys the company of other cats and is very curious about dogs. To adopt Seven or foster one of our other animals, you can come visit us Monday through Saturday at our shelter located in Manio. For more information, visit our website at www.obxspca.org or visit our OBX SPCA Facebook page.
Back on OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube. North Carolina map makers use concept maps unseen by the public to draw parts of the new State House map now under scrutiny and ongoing gerrymandering lawsuit. State House Rules Chairman Destin Hall spearheaded the legislative redistricting process on the House side, told lawyers suing the state legislature over these maps that he and key staffers retreated to a private room for strategy sessions while drawing maps in a public room at the State House. At times, Hall's in-house lawyer brought the concept maps they discussed into the public drawing room on his phone, displaying it while Hall drew lines on the public terminal. Lawyers in the case said in a filing last week. But those maps were not saved and are currently lost and no longer exist, Hall's legal team said in its response filing. The admission stands in contrast to repeated public promises from Hall and other Republican lawmakers involved in the map making that this was the most transparent redistricting in North Carolina history. This is all part of lawsuits that are being expedited on the State House, Senate, and U.S. House maps that North Carolina would be using. That's, of course, delayed the 2022 election season. Originally, we were supposed to have primaries in North Carolina in March. Those have now been pushed back to May by the state Supreme Court. They've also delayed candidate filing because even though it had opened, because those maps could change where candidates are going to run if they have to throw them out and be redrawn. The closing arguments in the trial are scheduled for today in Wake County Superior Court with a state-selected panel of judges. And then the state Supreme Court, which is expected to ultimately hear the case on appeal, ordered the Wake panel to issue a ruling by this coming Tuesday. So this expedited process to try and get things done with redistricting, and that was something that came out yesterday, a pretty significant that after saying that they were doing everything in public eye, those who were drawing the maps that the legislature were actually using and admitted to using maps that were not made public. Powerball drawing yesterday hit $630 million. 2 winning tickets for the jackpot sold in California, Wisconsin. 7th largest prize in history will be split. Meanwhile, someone in North Carolina won a $50,000 prize. So check your tickets. 6, 14, 25, 33, 46. The Powerball was 17. All right, more OBX Today Live coming up. We'll take a look at sports in just a moment. So stay right there.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
Beach Vitex is a coastal invader on our dunes and is listed as a state noxious weed, making it a regulated plant. Vitex is a fast-growing plant with long runners and was originally imported from Korea in the 1980s. It was thought that it might help stabilize dunes along the southeastern coast. It has purple blooms and silvery leaves that some homeowners were interested in for their landscaping. Unfortunately, Beach Vitex outcompetes most native plants. The plant spreads easily and has a shallow root system. It doesn't seem to have the same dune stabilization as our native American beachgrass or sea oats, meaning that our dune system is not as stable or as strong as we would like it in the event of a storm. On the Outer Banks, a task force was formed in 2008. Since that time, that task force has been disbanded. However, Beach Vitex has reappeared. It has appeared in Duck, as well as Southern Shores and Kitty Hawk. Working with the State Agriculture Department, groups of municipal staff and volunteers have been locating and working to eradicate Beach Vitex. Jared Driscoll and his colleagues Joe Davenport and David Pierce came to Duck in early November to help train town staff and volunteers on eradication methods. So what are we looking for when we're looking for Beach Vitex? We are looking for a plant that has runners, that has silvery purple leaves with purple berries when it's in season, which is typically in August. You're gonna see it on the beach. You could see it next to your house. Some of the places that we have identified Beach Vitex have been closely related to areas with a lot of Russian olives. They can easily be confused because the leaves have a silverish color to them. They are completely different. So you need to be able to distinguish between the two. Russian olives are going to grow up tall and they're going to have a fragrant smell. Beach Vitex is not going to have a smell unless you pull the leaf and scratch it. Russian olives also won't have purple berries like Beach Vitex. If you see the berries in the plants, chances are if you follow that strand, you're going to see a host of runners throughout the ground that are typically woody with some bark on them. What do you want to do if you identify some Beach Vitex? First, you don't want to try to prune it, and you certainly don't want to burn it, and you don't want to try and kill it by yourself. There is a very complicated process to try and eradicate this species. If you attempt to do, trimming or pulling it out, there's a good possibility that you will likely cause the plant to spread even further. What we would like for you to do is contact your local municipality and or the State Department of Agriculture. They have trained volunteers that can assist with proper application. herbicides, and they know what they're looking for, how to properly treat these plants. The key to fighting beach vitex and preserving our important native dune plants is the help of everyone that spends time on the beach. Identification and reporting can keep our dunes growing and stable for the future. Don't hesitate to call us. Even if you're not sure, we can make a site visit, we can make that determination and get it to the proper channels as needed.
All right, back on OBX Today Live with a look at sports. Not much going on locally. None of the local high schools in that. Well, Gates hosts Riverside. Sorry, that's the only high school basketball on the schedule tonight locally. College basketball last night. East Carolina winning in overtime over Tulane 88-80. And Notre Dame down North Carolina 78-73. Heels rally from a 13-point halftime deficit, or second half deficit. Actually took the lead with 2 minutes to go, but then back-to-back threes by Notre Dame ended Carolina's chances at winning. NFL's looking at possibly relocating the Super Bowl, supposedly played in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium, but the possibility of restrictions being instituted by California at indoor events were in Los Angeles. They are looking at possibly moving Super Bowl 56 on February 13th to somewhere else. AT&T Stadium, reportedly one of those places being considered. Let's see. All right, weather. OBX Today Weather Center forecast, because we kind of got a combination of things going on. It looks like we're just going to be getting rain tonight, overnight, early tomorrow morning here on the Outer Banks. Looking at our forecast from the OBX Today Weather Center and the National Weather Service, we're looking at clouds this morning, and then possibility of showers later in the day. Highs are going to get up into the mid-50s, so we'll kind of see a mixture of partly sunny skies with clouds. Got some clouds right now in some spots, sun's peeking through at other spots. Light winds today as well. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a few showers possible, and a low 37 for the beaches. It'll be breezy. Now, inland areas, it looks like as you head up towards Williamsburg, Richmond, and then back up towards Northern Virginia, where they got all the snow the other day that shut down 95, they're looking at some messy conditions, it looks like. In fact, here's kind of a discussion here from the National Weather Service in Wakefield, which handles things north of the border, up into, let's see, display capture 2. That's what we're on right now. There we go. We'll zoom that down. Looking at the map there, expected snowfall, maybe a trace Williamsburg up to Richmond, an inch north of Richmond, 2 to 3 inches you head towards the areas up between Richmond and Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg's going to be in the 3 to 4 category. Same thing kind of on the eastern shore, just a trace up north of Accomack along the state line, and then up to Salisbury, they might see about an inch, 2 to 3 inches from there on up towards Cambridge, where they're going to get 3 to 4 inches, and into D.C. So if you got plans to take you up north tomorrow, be aware that travel's going to be kind of a mess up that way. Looks like we're just going to be rain, though. In fact, the latest forecast for their inland areas, just west of the Sounds, Elizabeth City, and places like that, had some snow mentioned in the forecast yesterday morning. Now it is just all rain. So again, our OBX Today Weather Center forecast for today, partly sunny, 54. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a few showers overnight, breezy, a low 37. Sunny and windy on Friday, a high of just 40. Saturday, sunny and 43. Sunday, sunny and 62. Some showers Sunday night, 46. Showers in the morning on Monday, then partly sunny, breezy, and 48. Tuesday, sunny and breezy, a high of just 38. And then sunny Wednesday, a high 44. So winter conditions for sure. We get a little break today. and a little mild on Sunday, but it looks like the rest of the week ahead is just going to be kind of winter temperatures, just no wintry weather. Coastal marine forecast, pretty benign out there. 1 foot waves or less in the sound, seas 3 to 4 feet. Water temperatures low 50s on the north beaches. You get down to Avon at 61, maybe even mid 60s down to Ocracoke. That's not going to last much longer. Next tide change at Oregon Inlet is going to be a high tide at 10:26 this morning. Currently outside our studios in Uptown Nags Head. Mixture of clouds and sun. Depends on where you're at. Partly sunny and 47 degrees. And that's going to do it for OBX Today Live on this January 6, 2022. I'm Sam Walker. Back with you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for making sure you mash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell to know whenever we go live here on OBX Today. Presented by Gallup Funeral Services on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker. Have a great Thursday, everybody. We'll see you.